Now that we've talked about Isaiah Thomas, we've talked about Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith reuniting, and it feels so good. Now we're going to talk about LeBron James. Okay, we're going to talk about just all of the reactions that people are having. LeBron James has been completely roasted all over the internet. He has completely embarrassed himself by confronting Stephen A. Smith courtside. And I don't want to keep talking about this, but there's just been some fire takes surrounding this all over the internet ablaze. And, you know, LeBron James, I guess I don't know how this happened, but some audio leaked of him speaking to Richard Jefferson about why he confronted Stephen A. Smith. And it's a little low, so you guys might not be able to hear it. It's very low. I could not find a good video of this at all, but I'm going to try to play this for you guys, and it's just very low. So, turn your volume all the way up to hear this, okay? Okay, guys, you probably didn't hear that. You probably hear the music in the court and the background noise more than anything else. But this picture here, that's LeBron James whispering to, not maybe whispering, but he's talking to Richard Jefferson, and he's just saying, like, hey, that's the only thing I'm tripping about. That, like, this is my son, as a father, I'm pleading with you as a father. That's what he says to Richard Jefferson, and that's the audio that leaked and has been going all around the internet lately. And I mean, LeBron doesn't even look mad in that graphic. He doesn't look mad when he's talking to Richard Jefferson. I mean, to me, this is just all fake, and it's for the cameras. He also realized that he embarrassed himself. That's what I think. I think very quickly he realized he embarrassed himself, and he's trying to justify it. He's a billionaire. And you're going up to Stephen A. Smith to plead with him as a father. That's not what it looked like. It didn't look like any pleading when he was approaching Stephen A. Smith. He was dropping F bombs, being this fake tough guy. So there was no pleading as a father. If he was pleading with Stephen A. Smith as a father, then he might have said, hey, like, this is all really hard on my son. He didn't ask for any of this. Can you take it easy on him? That's pleading with him as a father. Had he went to Stephen A privately because he knows how to reach him, that would have been pleading with him as a father. But what he did in public, courtside at the Lakers game, that wasn't any pleading as a father. That was you being a fake tough guy. That was you capping. That was you clout chasing for the cameras. And to me, my opinion on that is that LeBron was very clearly plotting on Stephen A. Smith. There's no way around it, guys. There's just no way around it. He's mad that Stephen A. Smith doesn't want to call him the GOAT. He's furious with him over the past several months over the takes that he's had about him and his family. The way that Stephen A. Smith has covered LeBron James has been gloves off, scorched earth. Okay? He pretty much told him that he was a baby for taking a break from social media. I mean, to me, in my opinion, LeBron James wanted to press Stephen A for a while. He's tired of Stephen A. Smith. He called him a baby for leaving social media. LeBron is tired of him. Uh, Stephen A. Smith says that he ruined the All-Star game and a variety of other things that are also true. The only thing in his mind that he thought that he could say in order to sway people away from this embarrassment, like he always does, is he plays on the emotions of his fans and the American people by saying, oh, his son, my son. Don't talk about my son like that, please. He's an adult. He's in the NBA. He's got an $8 million contract. He's an NBA player. We're going to talk about him. You tweeted that he was better than a lot of these guys that you're seeing on League Pass right now. You said that he could suit up for the Lakers right now when he was in high school. But guys, what about back in January? Does anybody remember the month of January? Does anybody remember that pathetic loss to the 76ers? And, JJ had the nerve to put Bronny in the game because he played well in a G League game. They rushed him back up to the NBA. He had a great game in the G League that was, by the way, orchestrated for him to play well. Okay, the offense was designed for him. They benched the good players on the team so that he could shine. But back in January, loads of people criticized LeBron James, and Colin Cowherd was one of them. And I'm going to play this soundbite for you guys because I thought that it was, pretty interesting. And it's pretty much identical to what most analysts, and including Stephen A., I would say it's one of the harshest takes that I've heard. So I'm going to play this for you guys now.
In the NBA, you have to pretend that Bronny's an NBA player because otherwise you'll upset the king. And remember, he is a 6'2" guard that's a non-point guard. I've never seen that existing in the current NBA. And go back 20 years. He is 1 for 16 in the NBA from the floor, 0 for 7 on threes. He's not an NBA player. He was not a great high school player. He was a good high school player. He wasn't a good college player. He was a college player. And he's not an NBA player. And he may be a great kid. I'm sure he is. LeBron's a nice guy. I've met him. Can we stop pretending on this? Tyrese Maxey's a great player and cooked him. And you rushed him up because, hey, he had a good G League game. Oh, God. And I think of the many reasons the NFL is separated from the NBA is the NFL's a serious league. The games matter. It's adults. It's men. It's real conversation. We're not going to see Jalen Hurts' son wedged into the Eagles to play running back. No, it's Saquon Barkley. He's better than anybody. Grown-up conversations. Don't be terrified. Walk on eggshells. Last night came in, 3 turnovers, 0 for 5, looked terrified, nervous, and the Sixers, you can't fool players, went right after him. This continues to be an unserious story.
Guys, you heard it. I mean, that is one of the best ways to describe it. That not only was that a harsh take, but it was one of the best ways that I've heard it put. This is an unserious story. Bronny being out on the floor in real NBA games is a joke. And you can't possibly take the Lakers seriously, JJ Redick seriously, or the NBA seriously when you are seeing a joke on display. Colin Cowherd, he said that the NFL, that those are men playing. So what are the NBA players? Are they boys? No, they're jokes. That's the point. In football, you don't see this kind of nonsense happening. You'll never see it. But I just have a question. I mean, is LeBron James going to press Colin over this? This is the same message that Stephen A. Smith had. The only thing different is the complexion. The only other thing different is that maybe Colin Cowherd doesn't work for LeBron the way that Stephen A. does. ESPN, right? They're pretty much in bed with Clutch. Does Colin still have a job on ESPN? I don't know. He does, right? The Herd. Anyhow, he went scorched earth on LeBron and his child, mainly Bronny. He doesn't belong. He said it. He's not an NBA player. This is a joke. Well, Colin Cowherd, he heard about the viral confrontation between Stephen A. and LeBron James, obviously, and he's standing on business. He's doubling down on the right to, his journalistic opinion. And they talk about it in great length. He doubles down on having the right to be a journalist and have that opinion. And he wants the smoke, but he does try not to be disrespectful. So I want to play this soundbite for you of Colin Cowherd doubling down, standing on business. No one's scared of LeBron James. They're going to speak about him and his son not being a qualified NBA player.
Supported Bronny playing in that game so that father-son record could be set. I'm for it. I was a little critical when he had one good, really nice G League game, and they quickly moved him up, to the Lakers. And I'm like, guys, now you're asking me as a broadcaster to lie to the audience, and I'm not going to do that. Is that He's not an NBA player. He may work himself into a, eighth, ninth guy in a roster, and I'm rooting for that because I really do think Savannah and LeBron have done a wonderful job considering this generational wealth. They're good people. They're grounded as much as you can be if you're Ronaldo, Messi, LeBron, Brady, right? Like you just kind of bake in some of this shit ain't normal, right? So it's just interesting. I think the audience wants me to have definitive takes and take a side. But I think Stephen A. Smith does have a right to be honest about Bronny. But I also get the dad part. But I do come back to, listen, the minute you made that decision to wedge Bronny onto the Lakers, the most sacred part of sports is the uniform. You gave somebody a uniform, and many question whether he is uniform worthy at the NBA level. Like you can say what you want that owners do and GMs do, but that uniform in any sport, that is what makes grown men cry. They work 20 years to wear an NBA uniform. Hell, it can be a 10-day contract, man. If you get 10 days in the NBA for the rest of your life, I was an NBA player. And so when you get somebody to put that jersey on for the Los Angeles Lakers, there's going to be some animosity. There are going to be people going to say, wait a minute, time out now. Come on now. And so it's one of those, I know I'm supposed to take a side on this. And I've said this to people privately, I don't talk about this, that, the Ukraine, Putin, Zelensky, Russia, United States, it's way more complicated. I've watched more video on that story in the last 6 months than everything except sports. There's a lot of complexity with NATO and the history of Russia and us. And sometimes I'm if I'm ever critical of the media, social media has made simplicity the go-to apparatus. And I think Bronny, Stephen A., LeBron, I think it's complicated. I think there's the dad thing, there's the history thing, there's the journalist thing. And I hated to see it because I love LeBron and I really like Stephen A. Smith. I like them both. They're really good at what they do. And I know that's considered a soft pedal, but that's how I feel about it. Sorry.
Okay, so he says Stephen A. has the right to say his opinion on this. People aren't going to back down from talking about Bronny and the fact that he doesn't belong. And something that Colin Cowherd mentioned is the fact that putting on an NBA uniform is a big deal. And I am sick of, and I can't stress this enough. I'm sick of everybody talking about the 55th pick. And why is everybody worried about a 55th pick? You should be worried about every pick. Doesn't matter if it's the 1 millionth pick in the draft. Being a part of the NBA is special. It is a great honor. It's the highest level of playing the sport that you can go. So whether you ride the end of the bench or you're the starting five, it's a big deal. Obviously, it's a bigger deal if you're a superstar in the league, but to make it, to be at the end of the bench, to be in a Laker uniform nonetheless is a big deal. And we devalue that Laker uniform and we devalue the NBA and what it means to be an NBA player when we put unqualified individuals in the sport. When we are willing to waive someone like potentially a Cam Reddish and still make sure that Bronny has a job in the NBA. When he's not qualified to get in the court and won't get on the court alongside Luka Doncic because he's going to leave the team expeditiously in August. And I believe that if we see Luka and Bronny on the court together, Luka's not signing with the Lakers. But, I mean, Colin Cowherd standing on business. I mean, I don't see LeBron James going up to Colin or Charles Barkley, an OG in the game. Why not? Why isn't he going up to these guys? Why isn't he pressing them? LeBron is soft. Let's just call a spade a spade. He only picks on people he knows that he can pick on. Stephen A. Smith is just, he's a part of The La Media. He's on the payroll. He's part of the La Media. So, of course, LeBron can go up to him and impress him. It's La ESPN. They are a Clutch paid-for network. LeBron James, he can try to flex on Stephen A. Smith all he wants and make it look like he was punking him in public, but he's not going to do that to Charles Barkley. He's not paid for. There's a difference. Ryan Clark, he had some choice words for LeBron as well. And, you know, guys, I want to play this for you because Ryan Clark, he nails it. And he nails it on so many topics. And I really enjoy listening to him on the Pivot podcast. I think Ryan Clark is awesome. And here's what he had to say.
Correct, man. One, I would never compare myself to LeBron James and what he's accomplished, the stress and the critique that's come along with being who he is, right? That's a different level of scrutiny and expectations that he's had as opposed to other athletes. And I do understand the father part though, right? Because I got 3 babies. Like, I'll kill for mine. More importantly, I'll die for them. And so I understand wanting to protect them. And Stephen A. said that wasn't LeBron James, the athlete. That was LeBron James, the father. But what I say there is you got to separate that, right? One of Pop's famous lines on Friday was, "No, baby, let him be a man." Mm-hmm. Bron got to let Bronny be a man. The first thing Jordan told me when he saw that, because we were together, he said, "Pop, I'd lose my shit." He said, if I did that, if someone was talking about him and I did what LeBron James did, he would lose it. He said, you got to let me be a man. And I've done that with Jordan in high school. I've done that with Jordan in college. And I'm not saying that he's where LeBron is, but LeBron did what he needed to do. But what about Bronny James? Think about what LeBron is saying, right? And I agree with this. Bronny James, for a 55th overall pick, for a guy who's played well in the G League and been on the bench and got, some minutes in the NBA, he is more negatively critiqued and analyzed than any player who would be picked in that position that does the job the way that he does it. But he's also praised more. He's also been drafted in a place that his resume probably didn't say he should have been drafted in. He's also benefited in NIL when he only averaged 4 points a game. He has marketing and commercials and publicity and followings and get paid away from the court more than Mac McClung, who then led the G League in scoring and won the dunk contest 3 times because you're LeBron James's son. So what does it do to that narrative now? Right? How does LeBron running up on Stephen A. help the narrative? It doesn't, because the narrative was he's there because of you. He was drafted in the place he wasn't supposed to be because of you. Now, all of a sudden, we can't talk about him either. Now, imagine if LeVar Ball runs up on Stephen A. Imagine if T. Morant runs up on Stephen A. How classless we would say they are. How immature we would say they are. LeBron James is a father doing the same thing for a professional basketball player. And I get it. I 100% get it, man. Sometimes somebody does something and it's on site. Stephen A. say, why you didn't call me? Mav got my number, right? He say, Rich got my number. Because LeBron James saw him and LeBron James wanted to make that point. He wanted to show the world. He wanted to show Stephen A. And he probably wanted to show Bronny, bro, I got you. And I'll do it publicly so everybody sees it. The problem is this. You ain't run up on Skip all them years he was talking about you. You ain't run up on everybody else all that time he was talking about you. And you're going to run up on everybody that says Bronny James didn't deserve to be drafted where he was drafted at. You're going to have to do a whole lot of damn fighting. LeBron James, more than any athlete I've ever seen, has shown a poise and composure when people are talking about him negatively like I've never seen. He's truly been an example to every athlete in the world who's harshly critiqued, to his son. But now what you've told your son is, even though I wasn't above reproach, even though no athlete that's ever played the game was above criticism, you are. And I showed you that by checking somebody because I felt like they talked about you. And that's, to me, where you got to separate father and you got to separate teammate. Because now if I'm Bronny James, I know my dad loves me, right? But I hope, because LeBron James is a great dad, that he asks Bronny, are you okay with this? Because this is going to reflect on you more than it's going to reflect on me.
If he run up on me.
Well, that was a loaded soundbite. And I think that Ryan Clark, like I said, he nailed it. He nailed it. And, you know, bigger than the fake tough guy narrative for me. And Ryan Clark pretty much said that LeBron wanted, it was performative. I've never seen a player or an athlete in any sport that was more performative than LeBron James. I never have. I've never seen someone do something for the sake of how it looks and for the sake of saying that he's done it more than LeBron James. I've just never seen that before. But like I said, bigger than the fake tough guy narrative, for me, I have first and secondhand embarrassment for LeBron James. That's my feeling. If in fact he's really upset about the Bronny criticism, let's just roll with that. I mean, for a moment, like I'm very skeptical as to why Stephen A. Smith is the target for his tough guy act. But let's just say it's true. Let's just say for a moment that it's true that LeBron James, you know, if that's the reason why he's pressing Stephen A. Smith. To me, if that's the case, then it's giving I never had a father or I had an absentee dad. Those are the vibes. LeBron's father was missing from his life. His high school coach abandoned him and went on to bigger and better things. And here's Bronny, his son, that has an $8 million contract. He's a 20-year-old in the NBA that nobody is allowed to talk about unless we're raining praise, sunshine, and flowers on this young man. Ryan Clark is right. Let Bronny be a man and fight his own battles. And I love that he quoted Friday and John Witherspoon when he talks to Craig's mom, and he's like, "Baby, let him be a man." You want to know what else John Witherspoon said and what he talked about? And it's so crazy how, you know, even today it's so true. He talked about in the movie that, like, because I think he stopped Craig from grabbing a gun. So he's like, put that gun down. You don't need that. Nowadays, everybody wants to shoot, 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 but they don't want to use these two things. And I thought that that was really interesting because it goes to the mentality that we see in modern day, you know, sports, really, is that like people are taking the easy way out. The gun is the easy way out, right? And I don't mean that like this. I'm not saying that LeBron James was supposed to beat up Stephen A. Smith. I think in that case, the smarter thing, the more intelligent thing, to me, what I would have respected much more is if he had called Stephen A. Smith privately and just said, "Hey, you know, this is hard on Bronny. He didn't ask for any of this. Can you take it easy on him? You know, the clutch sports checks are still going to come through, but I need you to take it easy." But instead, he tried to press him. He tried to big homie him courtside when he hasn't done that to anybody. And Ryan Clark is calling him out. Are you doing that to Skip Bayless? Are you going up to these other guys and saying anything? No. So what was that about? That's why it's very difficult for me to believe that that this is about Bronny. That's the problem that I have. Let Bronny be a man. Let him be a man. Ryan Clark is right. Let him be a man. Let him fight his own battles. He cited his own child. Hey, if I saw you do that, Dad, I would be pissed. And no, Ryan Clark's son is not Bronny James. But again, to want the protection, I think is pathetic. For Bronny James to want the protection, for him to lean into this sort of privilege, it's awful to me. Let Bronny James be a man. Let him fight his own battles. Let Bronny face the criticism for his play just like every other NBA player has had to do. LeBron, stop fighting his battles. Baby, let him be a man. The reason why LeBron won't do that is because he's forced him into the league. He has forced him onto the Lakers, and it's his fault that all of this is happening. So he's not going to let Bronny be a man because he's in control of it all. So when you're controlling every step of the way, there's nothing for Bronny to do because LeBron has been orchestrating, controlling, manufacturing, everything. He did this to Bronny, and perhaps he wants to fix it. Either way, it's giving bad parent. It's giving I never had a dad or anyone to hold me down. Except, I don't know, the entire sports media for years that has protected LeBron. But look, that's a whole nother story, okay? Yawn. What do you guys think? Was it really Bronny that caused LeBron to embarrass himself on national TV? Or was LeBron plotting on Stephen A. Smith this whole time? Did he always want to press him like this and is just using Bronny as an excuse? Call in, guys. Talk to me nice. You guys are so funny in the chat. Seriously. LeBron isn't soft. He's weak. Imagine the Cavs winning without LaFraud. They talk about Dennis Rodman. He was undrafted. That's how far the NBA fell from grace. LaFlop looked like an emotionally unstable soccer mom. Road ragging on Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, I mean, how many times have I said it? How many times have I called him an obsessed soccer mom? That's what I've called LeBron James. That's what he is. LeBron is an obsessed soccer mom who is just, he's irrational. The idea that you can manufacture or that you could somehow pass down athletic success is a joke. You can't pass that down. And the NBA, it is a group of jokes playing. It doesn't compare to the NFL at all. That sport still has some integrity left. The NBA has none. It's dying. What do you guys think? Are we tired? Are we feeling a little sleepy? It's okay if we are. I'll give it another minute or so. If nobody calls in, we'll end the stream. But guys, let's see where we're at with likes. Can we run up the likes? Can we smash the like button for me? So we're at 76 likes. We've got 100 people in the chat. Let's run them up to 100. I know we can do it. But yeah, I'll read some more comments. Some takes aren't basketball takes. Remember how they did Kyrie. I hear you. But what I'll say to that in response is that everything being said about Bronny is about his basketball play. It's not that he's a bad kid. Stephen A. Smith is even saying he's lying, saying that Bronny James could one day be an NBA player. Colin Cowherd does not think that that's possible. Nobody does. Nobody believes that. And we've got to stop. We've got to stop capping. We have to tell the truth. Why is it wrong to say that Bronny's not an NBA player? Why is it wrong to say that he's just not ready? Why is it wrong to say that he needs to stay in the G League? Thanks for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice. Who do I have on the line tonight?
Peace, Dom. It's Brother Juma.
Hey, Brother Juma. You're going to be our final call for this evening. Talk to me nice. What do you think? Do you think that
Yeah.
LeBron's capping? Do you think it's really just that he always wanted to plot on Stephen A? Is it about Bronny? What are your thoughts on this?
First, I'm just glad that you're back in it. We're definitely glad that you're well and doing what you do best. We really do appreciate you being back in the house. But yeah, Bronny, LeBron, it's basically he's being the NBA is emboldening him to just let him do whatever he wants to do. And it's kind of like a child that you haven't ever checked. If you just let a child, scream and holler and throw temper tantrums in the house, eventually they start throwing temper tantrums when they go out to get food and when they're in public and when they're at school. And that's what's happened now. He knows that he's not going to get reprimanded for acting like a child. He's a businessman. It's clear that there's no way he doesn't have contacts to Stephen A. personally, his personal information, if not at least his agent. They've known each other for literally 20 years. And for him to just act like that in public, that's a bully move. It's a punk move. There's definitely no reason for it. That's not professional. That's not being an adult. He has zero excuse to do that. And it's embarrassing and egregious that the NBA just lets him just run around and do that. There's this crazy double standard for him, and his back's on the wall because of people like you and Mel and Dreamers Pro and all and Angry Hoops, and there's now all this live real footage and breakdowns and takes that he can't deny. And the internet is timeless, so there's no way he's going to be able to have a case that he's, what everyone's pumped him up to be as the king. He's never earned that right. He's left a king who's left his own kingdom. He's always needed other teams, other all-stars and top 2, 3, 4, 5 players to get his championships. He's never really been the first option. Has no game whatsoever. It's just he's emboldened to act an ass. And the chickens has finally come home to roost. But I shouldn't say that because they really haven't yet. His little shenanigans with AD and acting like he didn't know anything, and so he can try to ride the coattails of somebody else for another ring. But it's unacceptable. It's just I watched a couple games this weekend. It's the first time I watched games, full games, literally in over 5 months. And it's just embarrassing to see how the league tried to let the Lakers, they try to let them come back with all those whack call moves of him flopping over the fake shot to the chin. I don't have the words.
I know it's tough. It's hard because you've seen what happened when the league is put in LeBron James's hands, and it's just narcissism at its finest. It's abuse of the gift and the power that you've been given. So, thank you so much, Brother Juma, for calling in. I really appreciate the warm welcome back. Thanks for cooking on this topic. I think that
appreciate you.
LeBron.
If I could say really quick, they keep talking. It's just weird how they keep talking about Bronny as if he's a child, when the bottom line is his dad is the one who put all those tweets out saying that. And these are just simple takes. This isn't crazy hard to do. He's the one who said that his son, was better than half the players in the NBA, could start for the Lakers right now, insulting his own teammates. And he's the one who said, basically strong-handed the Lakers or any team to have LeBron have his son play for them. He was a 55th draft pick out of nepotism. He's the only 55th draft pick in the history of the NBA to get a guaranteed 4-year, $8 million contract without setting one toe on the hardwood. And he's a professional. He's a grown man, and he's a professional. And he's going to get critiqued. And it doesn't even make sense. It's like being in the Matrix, that he's going to do this for his son, and then now his son can't step up the way, just same way with LeBron, I'm activating playoff mode, and then they get swept and don't even get into the play-in. It's like it's a part of this is what you do when you're a professional. You're going to get critiqued quarterly or whatever on your job performance. That's just the bottom line. And once you're a professional, you have to be a professional, especially when you're getting paid millions of dollars. And what LeBron is doing is making no sense. And the fact that the people are letting him do this makes no sense. It really is just crazy. It's really peculiar.
Have you ever heard of literary suspension?
No, what is that?
So literary suspension, it's like when you read a book or you're watching a movie or something like that, or sometimes they refer to it as cinematic suspension. And basically it's where things happen in the movie that like don't make sense at all. And you just have to suspend it because you're watching something not based in reality or fiction. So like, I guess a good example of it is like, okay, maybe you're watching, okay, we're watching Bad Boys 4 or something like that. And we see Will Smith, like, you know, go flying off the building. We know there's no way that like, there's any way that he would have been able to make that jump. You know, there's just no possible physical way that he could do that. Right. That stunt is impossible, but we have to suspend that reality. And shout out to Funky Town, suspension of reality. We have to suspend those things that we know to be true sometimes. It's like, I guess in a movie, if you're being told that the sky is red and you see in the movie it's red, but we know that like, that's just never going to happen. It's those kinds of things. And like, it's almost, that's how I feel when I am sometimes listening to mainstream media, whether it's First Take or any of these shows that start talking about LeBron James, the Lakers, JJ Redick. I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. I feel like I'm in this place that doesn't truly exist. And, you know, I'm just here, you know, living in a part of it. So, you know, thank you for cooking on this topic, Brother Juma. I really appreciate you just coming through the stream, you know, showing up and supporting, and great phone call, great commentary.
We appreciate
great
you.
engagement. And I hope you have a wonderful night. So thanks again.
All right, you as well. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. So that is the end. I do want to check on where we're at with the likes. I know that we can do a really good job here. I think we had 103 people watching at one point, and the stream has been going for 103 minutes. So really great job, guys. We're at 87 likes. Let's just run them up. If we can get them up to 90 to 100, that'd be awesome. But thank you so much for being here tonight. It was a pleasure to just come in here and chat with you all. And thanks for staying up late for me. But do me a favor on your way out of the room. If you haven't done so already, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And, you know, if you're feeling like you want to be a part of the community, feel free to join as a member as well. We'll have some members only content coming up on Sundays. That's going to be the day for members only content. We're going to do some really cool topics there. So thank you everyone for showing up to the stream, and have a wonderful night. And don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the content on social media, get the word out there about Sports Tea, and everyone have a good night. Get some rest. Bye-bye.